Test, test. Can. Hello. Anybody there? Ooh.
Are you guys able to hear me? Hello? Hello? Yeah, I can hear you, but you're very far away. Yeah, now I can hear you. I can't hear Uncle Sam, he's too far away. But I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you, but can you guys hear me properly? Can you guys hear me properly? Hold on, let me try something else. Give me 1 second. Wait, Adam. On Discord, go to Discord real quick, and you can see on my account, turn up my mic volume. Go to Discord. Yeah, hi. Go to Discord and just like right click my name. Is my voice more audible now? Is my voice more audible now? Is my voice clear or not? Well, yeah, cause... Wait, no. What is this? You guys aren't unmuted for the screen then? Okay, now just unmute me for a second, just so I'll say test to see if I get picked up on the stream. Just say, just test. See about it. Are you muted? Okay. Am I muted? Okay. I just have to check. Wait, hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna check the stream to see if I was heard or not. Let me go back quick. Give me a second. Oh my mic is perfectly clear, bruh. My mic's clearer than you guys. Ow. I'm just built because I joined the call with Dehan recently, and he said the mic wasn't too clear. Oh, I'm just built like that. All right. Can I cut? I don't. I don't know because I'm meant to be back. Wait, make sure we're muted. Okay. This is, I was meant to be back. Oh my god, I'm not muted. I, I'm watching the stream. Listen to this. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, there are some technical difficulties. You've heard stuff you shouldn't have heard. I guess I can put that on stream. Technical difficulties. Kelvin, you have to press the speak button. There's like a volume like speaker button which you have to click to mute me on Streamlabs. The wonderful viewers have heard me say, I'm him. No, you guys muted the in-game audio as well. Ask Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam's there? No, he should know how to solve this. Ask him to. Say there's like 2 minutes anyway in practice. Okay. Well, I hear myself now. I hear myself now, but it's very... I hear myself now, but it's very quiet, so... You've just reduced the volume of the... Wait, give it like 5 seconds. Give it like 5 seconds. Yeah, now I can hear the game. So let's see if I hear myself. Give it 10 seconds, I'll see if I can hear myself. Okay, I can hear myself. I can hear myself. Yeah, anyway, Kelman, from now on I'll say, I'll just stay muted whenever I... Yeah, that's not a problem. I see so many fans have joined the stream, so now, welcome everyone. Welcome Inish, welcome Init, long-time fans of the Small Motorsports Club. We are 20 seconds away from starting round 2 here at Suzuka. We're about to commence qualifying. At the moment, the usual names are up at the top, but a surprise entry from Viren Bokejo in his Ferrari 296, who is up in P3 at the moment, showing some immense pace ahead of the likes of Kenan Abiseka and Brian Pereira. He's only 3 tenths off the mighty times of Tehan Aranga, but once again, this may just be race sprint times from Tehan, who was seen to be doing 1 minute 58 in practice. So let's see what we'll see.
Green light, go, go, go.
Yep, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Yep. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to Suzuka. It's a wonderful sunny day, 21 degrees Celsius here in Suzuka, and we are ready for an action-packed weekend, or should I say hour and a half ahead of us. So it is midday here in Suzuka, and we have 15 minutes of qualifying ahead of us, 13 and a half minutes to be precise. We're riding on board with the Hanaranga for this first lap. We'll try and ride on board with him with his in-car camera as we look to see the potential pole sitter for this weekend. Hotly contested qualifying ahead of us, but the Hanaranga is dubbed to be the man on pole. He's been the quickest man in practice and all the practice sessions building up to qualifying. As you can see, he's on board. We'll try and get onto his bonnet camera or his hood camera as he winds his way through the S section. A wonderful sequence of corners here, one of the most historic sequence of corners in both F1 and GT racing history. Out of the fourth gear left-hander onto a short straight, building up to a 90 right, preferably into fourth gear in this GTR, riding over the exit curbs into a sharp second or third gear cornering, depending on your car. Another short burst with a kink right, heading into a tight braking zone. It is the left-hand hairpin. Crucial to get the exit right with ample oversteer. Now the run down into 180R a corner. Crucial to get right. Crucial to not dip your front right tire onto the grass on the outside. As you can see, Tahan gets it perfectly onto the exit curbs with good car rotation. Can he keep it clean on the exit that looks to be just within track limits? You're able to run it a little bit wider onto the green stuff. Down this back straight onto a sharp left-hand corner, 130R. A slight lift from Tahan, but he's got it absolutely perfect. Now into a hard braking zone, just in between the 150 and 100 meter boards. Perfectly done in first or second gear once again, depending on his car. He is running the Ford Mustang this weekend. Beautiful traction out of the chicane around the final corner. And what kind of a lap time is it for Tahan Hanaranga? Over the line, he manages to clock a 2-minute lap time, but I believe he has cut the corner at some point on his lap. He has gone over track limits, so that is one massive feature of the Suzuka circuit. As you see him going just a little bit over onto the grass. So Tehanaranga has not managed to set a lap time as yet. So the actual fastest lap time after these first couple laps at the moment is Nirosh Yashan. Oh, and there is a little bit of a spin for Nirosh Yashan just as he completes his first banker lap with a 2-minute 0.6. Shane Murakun has done a lap time 5 and a bit tenths slower than Nirosh Yashan at a 2-minute 1.2. Viren Bateju a second off at a 2-minute 0.5, and Angelo Senaratne, the man of the hour, he has put himself into first with a 2-minute 0.3. Most of these times will drop down very quickly as the fuel loads also drop down. And so joining me in the commentary box is two well-esteemed go-karters themselves, both in the recent 6-hour endurance. At Speedway we have Adam and Kelman. How are you guys doing today?
Hello, we're doing good, We are currently going through some technical difficulties right now, but everything seems to be going fine now.
Yeah, we could hear a big commotion between yourselves and me as well, right before the start of this race. Yeah, but all's good so far. What do you guys think? I know you guys are pretty new to the world of ACC. I'm pretty new myself, but I've had at least a season of watching these talented race drivers go round and round in circles for an hour straight for the last year now. But what do you guys think of this? I know Adam is quite familiar with the world of Gran Turismo and Dirt Rally, but well, what's your point of view on how ACC looks?
Compared to GT7, this is much more realistic. I was watching Angelo some lap times. All the track limits, the track and all was all different compared to GT7.
Yeah, this is a pretty common track that we've run in most of our Gran Turismo championships.
Yeah.
It's Suzuka. Oh, as we see, Tehanaranga has set a 1-minute 59.7. That is what we've come to expect from Tehanaranga, but we see Angelo Senaratne crossing the line. Will he manage to go any quicker? I don't believe he has. As he crosses the line, he has managed to go quicker, but is still just shy of Brian Pereira. I believe about 600ths off Brian Pereira. So the big guns have put in their initial times with 7 minutes left on the board. Tehanaranga leading the way at the moment, 3/10 ahead of Brian Pereira, who said he was struggling for pace in practice, but once again proving why he is a Gran Turismo champion and also a top 3 finisher in the championship at both ACC and iRacing. So as we were going back to what we said, we're going back to what Adam said, Gran Turismo a bit more on the arcade side of racing games, a bit somewhat realistic simulator, but you're able to push the cars a bit more than you potentially can, as I believe we were setting lap times of a 1-minute 57, 1-minute 58, but from what you can see, Tehanaranga, no rookie to ACC racing, he is as good as it gets, and even he's only managing a 1-minute 59.7 at the moment, which basically shows the sorts of lap times that you can achieve on a more realistic racing model. And so, 7 minutes to go. Who do you guys think can achieve, what do you guys predict the top 3 will be for this qualifying session? As I've raced with these drivers before, I know what to expect from most of them, but as newcomers to this championship, who do you see as a potential threat for the race win today?
I mostly think the win will go to Tehan, and the podiums will be Tehan, Brian, Angelo, but 3 of them can snatch the win away because they are really competitive with each other.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we saw from round 1. If we take our minds back to round 1, in case you missed round 1, we had Misano, which was ultimately won by Tehanaranga in pretty commanding fashion. However, it wasn't smooth sailing, as Angelo Senaratne was also putting up a very good fight until he got an unlucky drive-through penalty, as I believe Angelo Senaratne has actually gone quickest. Essentially, proving my point correctly, he has just put himself into provisional pole position. Yeah, that is what we're supposed to expect from this, not just top 3, but even the rest of the top 10. We have a pretty talented lineup here with Denan Abesekra in P4, currently racing from Malaysia, getting used to getting back into the groove of racing. I believe he finished third in Misano behind Brian Pereira. Andrew Sean, a talented racing driver who got unlucky in Misano with a whole load of collisions in the first 20 minutes of the race. Savi Ratnayaka, no, he's a familiar face to the CMSC Race at Home Championship. He's in P6 and will be looking to pick up his pace a little bit. And obviously Nirosh Yashan and Shaman Vitarana rounding off the top 8. We have Viren Boteju currently sitting in 11th, which is not where he'd want to be. He's behind Sharanya Mendes, who is the fastest driver in the M class at the moment. So as we're riding on board with Viren Boteju, he finds himself in quite a lot of traffic at the moment, which is not ideal for Viren's aspirations to try and get into at least the top 8 today, as he's got past the traffic he was held up in, as we have cars going wide. This is all good. There is 4 minutes left in qualifying, so if a car was to go into the pits now, he would potentially have 2 laps of qualifying left. But as it stands, Anjo Senaratne still heads the way ahead of Tehan Iranga. We are missing a few faces this weekend. We're missing Shan Amrisinghe, who I believe has not been able. Oh, Shan has actually joined this weekend, so that's always wonderful to see. Nimesh Dean, one of our fellow viewers at the moment, has not been able to join this weekend. We wish him all the best with his examinations coming up. And once again, Tehan Iranga, as we ride on board with him, has gone quicker by 2.5 tenths. He's set a 1:59.4, but these lap times are only going to get better. I believe the lap time should drop into the 1:58 by the time we're done with qualifying proceedings. And so Tehan Iranga continues around the Suzuka track. He is now heading into the hairpin. Not certain as to whether he is on a lap right now, but let's soon see.
As we come to the final runs of Collie, provisional pole so far is Tehan. Let's see what the others can do.
Yep, we're riding on board with Angelo Senaratne. He is tucked up behind Denan Abesekra, so he is getting a good slipstream off Denan without being blocked off too much. Denan Abesekra, let's see what he can set for his penultimate lap before he heads off on his final run in qualifying. His last lap was his quickest, the 1:59.910. But let's see what Denan can achieve on this lap. Has he gone quicker? He has gone quicker by about a tenth of a second. Angelo Senaratne also goes quicker and is only 4 hundredths off Tehan Eranga as they round off for one final lap. Let's try and run on board with Tehan Eranga. And so here is Tehan Eranga. This will be Tehan's final lap in this qualifying session. So we ride on board with him. He goes through 180R. He does not have enough time to make it round for another lap. So this will be Tehan's representative lap, and it needs to be a good one, as Angelo Senaratne is only 400ths off him in second place. There we go. Through 130R. It looks good. If he kept it within track limits, it looks very quick. Qualifying is officially over. Tehan makes his way through the chicane. It was a big corner cut, but it could well be within track limits. Out of the final corner, keeps it well close to the inside wall. As he crosses the line, what can Tehan Eranga achieve? He's gone quicker by 2/10. It is a 159.3. Let's move to Denon Abesekra, who is a little bit further up the road. Yes, Denon Abesekra comes round 180R. Andrew Sean is in the pits. Viren Boteju just puts his car into P6. That is the kind of pace we were expecting from Viren Boteju. Brian Pereira cannot improve and is in P4. Andrew Sean, P5, Viren, P6. Sabi is in the pits in P7. Chevron in the pits, P9. As Denon Abesekra makes his way through the final chicane, has he managed to keep it within track limits? Angelo Senaratne has pitted. He is not going to go quicker than P2. Can Denon Abesekra make it into pole position or onto the front row? He cannot. He does not improve, and Denon Abesekra will start P3. And so after a thrilling end to qualifying, it is Tehan Eranga, who, as we predicted, is on pole position, but it isn't as commanding as we expected. Angelo Senaratne is only 2/10 off Tehan Eranga on the front road, followed by Denon Abesekra, Brian Pereira, Andrew Sean, and Viren Boteju in P6. As we can hear, Angelo Senaratne in race control at the moment. He has put in a good lap to put himself in P2. So as we go further down the order, we have Escanawardena on pole position in the M class, followed by Sharanya Mendes in P2 of the M class. We have Vijay Gunawardena in P3. We had Amjad Iftikhar P4. Guided Lakshan in P5, followed by S. Silva in P6. Praveen Peter in P7. And that is your top 7s for the M class. However, the Pro class looks a little bit spread out, aside from they're mainly formed up in groups of two at the moment. Tehanaranga and Angelo Senaratne closely matched, followed by the two CMSC teammates of Denon Abesekra and Brian Pereira in P3 and 4. As the cars are now on the grid, we will have a formation lap before the race starts.
30 seconds. 20 seconds.
Mhm. And so
10
we are
seconds.
10 seconds away from the formation lap here at Suzuka. We'll be seeing the cars going around in formation to warm up their tires, warm up their brakes, warm up all the mechanics of their car, and prepare themselves for the rolling start that will commence. It seems that on the current list, Shiranya Mendes has actually snatched pole position in the M class, so there might have been a timing issue earlier on the previous screen, but from what we can see now, Shiranya Mendes is on pole, and all the pro drivers have managed to secure the top 11 positions on the grid, with the M drivers following in close proximity. Tell me, what are you looking forward to seeing today? Are you looking forward to seeing some good action, potentially some collisions, but not race-ending collisions? But I assure you'd want to see some good action today. I don't think Cummins is with us right now, but very soon we will also have the likes of Sam Smith in the commentary box with us later on in the race. You might remember Sam Smith, who joined me in the commentary box for the entirety of last season's Race at Home Championship. And all 4 commentators at the moment are used to the world of endurance racing. Everyone has taken part in 6-hour endurances at Bandaragama in go-karts, and it is very different to what these drivers on ACC have to do. It's a little less entertaining at points, but when the pro drivers come up to lap any slower cars that require to be lapped later on in the race, about 20 minutes into the race, that's when things can get very interesting. And one crucial thing to note in this race is the race time has been allocated to 6 p.m., which could see the headlights of these cars potentially coming out very soon, or they might actually already be out as of now. This could get very interesting if the track was to get a lot darker come 7 p.m., as I assure you many cars that are bound to be lapped may not see these drivers. If any of the viewers follow the World Endurance Championship, the 6 hours of Spa that just concluded saw many leading hypercars getting blocked off by LMP GT3s, or LMGT3 cars, which and so the drivers form their way into their respective pairs for the standing start. We will follow Tehaneranga through the final corner. The race is about to get underway. If we can remove the chat box from the screen right now. And the cars go side by side over the line.
Green light, show them what you got.
And it's lights out, green lights. And the race is underway. It's a good start for Tehaneranga, but let's roll back through the grid. Angelo Senaratna has managed to secure his way into P2. Denan Abesekra follows through in P3, but Denan jumps down the inside of Angelo Senaratna into turn 2, and he makes his way into the top 2 positions. Let's roll back through the grid to see how the rest of the grid has shaped up. I believe Brian Pereira has managed to keep P3. I believe Brian Pereira has managed to keep P4, my mistake, with Andrew Sean in P5. Let's roll our way back through the grid. Yes, Andrew Sean has managed to keep P5, followed by Nirosh Yashan. Sabi Ratnayaka in P7. Viren Batejo has kept his nose clean in P8, followed by Shane Murapuna and Shavan Vidarna. I am Fazal, rounding out the pro class in that Lightning McQueen Porsche liveried car. And Sharanya Mendes has managed to keep the lead in the AM class and is managing to stick with the pro drivers. So let's head our way back to the front of the grid where let's go back to the front of the grid where Tehanaranga leads the way, but Angelo Senaratna is very close to the tail of Denan Abesekra. I will not be surprised to see Angelo Senaratna making a move on Denan very soon. Both drivers have very good race pace based on their practice high fuel runs. But who will be able to get the measure of the other? The top 10 have managed to keep things very clean. The top 11, should I say, have managed to keep things very, very clean on this start. It's a very different story to what happened in Misano in round 1, as there were many collisions on the first lap alone. But this is what we like to see. We like to see very close, clean racing. As a little gap has formed to Andrew Sean in P5, who has dropped back 1.4 seconds from Brian Pereira in 4th. But as we continue to ride on board with Brian Pereira, things are very close between the two of them. We'll just try to keep an eye on the gaps on the left-hand side of our screen to see where and how close drivers are to one another in this race. But the closest battle at the moment looks to be this one that we're on right now. So let's roll down the order a little bit to see the rest of the drivers. Savirat Nayaka managing to hold station in 7th, but he is being followed in somewhat close pursuit. Praveen Peter looks to have made up a place on Amjad Iftikhar into 14th. Savirat Nayaka running a new Winlads, Mora Racing livery with Max and Mesh sponsoring and Winlads sponsoring on his side part. It's a wonderful livery, a big change to the blue and gold livery he ran last season on his Lamborghini. But as we cross the line, or should we say, as we go through 130R, Brian Pereira has closed the gap on Angelo Senaratna quite significantly. The gap is only 2.5 tenths from the last timing beam. Angelo seems to have gotten away from Brian West. There's a little twitch by Brian Pereira exiting the final corner. Things are starting to somewhat space out just a little bit. And so yeah, Kelman, Adam, what are your thoughts on that race style? What do you think some of these drivers need to look out for, and what do you think? Do you think Angelo Senaratna is going to go for the move, or even Brian Pereira, or do you think they'll just sit back and switch off the other drivers at the moment?
My thoughts on the race, it was an interesting start. Denan taking over Angelo at the start will be crucial towards the end of the race. Now it will all come towards the pit stop strategies of what they will be doing, each driver will be doing. So at this point it's anyone's game, but now Tehan has bought up a lead of 1.5 seconds. So Denon and Angelo will be trying to catch that up.
Definitely, but the crucial battle at the moment to look out for is to roll our way down to P8 with Viren Potato. Viren Potato has managed to get within 0.4 of a second of Savi Ratnayaka. He seems to have dropped back just a little bit on this lap. Savi potentially having a better second sector, should I say, than Viren Potato, with the gap branching back out to roughly 0.7 of a second. Yep, 6.5 tenths of a second between Viren and Savi Ratnayaka. As we go back let's go back to Shane Ruakun in 9th place. Things are getting very close between Shane and Shevan Vitarana. Shevan going around the outside, or attempting to, but Shane cuts that off very well. Shevan obviously running the Aston Martin against Shane's McLaren. Shevan has run a little bit wide. Will he be able to hold on ahead of Iham? He's able to do so. So there we saw a potential move from Shevan Vitarana on Shane, but the legs of the Ferrari 296, well, should I say, sorry, the McLaren that Shane is running, were just too much for Shevan's Aston Martin, which is a surprise considering the Aston Martin does generally have better straight line speed than the McLaren. But let's ride a bit further up to Viren Boteju and Savi Ratnayaka, who are both very close to Niro Shashan. Let's go on board with Savi Ratnayaka, who looks to be shaping up for a move on Niro Shashan. Will he be able to go for the move? No, he thinks wiser of it. He stays in the slipstream off Niro Shashan. Once we go back out to see the broadcast cameras off this battle between Savi, Viren and Niro Shashan. Viren had better race pace than the potential quali pace here. Oh, there's a very poor run out of 180R from Savi Ratnayaka. This looks to be a good chance for Viren Boteju. We're going to go side by side here, ladies and gentlemen, into 130R. Oh, Viren Boteju backing out. Savi getting his right tires on the grass, scaring Viren into, going off the track there. That might be a track limits warning for Viren Boteju. Viren wisely backed out of it, knowing that nothing good was going to come out of that move. As we ride, let's go back on board with Angelo Ceneratna real quick. As Angelo looks to be doing a little bit more attacking on Denon Abisakura. Potentially, Angelo Ceneratna goes off track at the exit of turn 1. Just as I said, he was about to go attacking on the aggressive against Denon Abisakura. Very well held by Angelo Ceneratna, but he does not want to be doing that more often because Brian Pereira is in the wheel tracks.
Yeah, but Brian has
that was a close one.
Brian has caught up a lot. He's looking towards attacking Angelo.
Yep, and we know from recent history, we know obviously Brian Pereira has the pace. Both Adam and I have raced with Brian in the world of Gran Turismo, but I've also raced with Brian on the SCC, and it's an even bigger pace gap. But let's ride back. Let's ride back on the original battle we were on with Niro Shashan and with the likes of Savi and Viren, because Adam, I believe Shane Ruakun and Shevan Vitarana have also somewhat joined this battle. Yes, as you see, Shane is also now just over a second away from Viren. Based on what happened in Misano, I believe what Shane and Shevan will want to do is just stay away from too much battling, keep their noses clean, and find their way through this race in a safe manner, because from what we saw in Misano, Shevan, myself, and Viren were all able to make it through to the top 7 just by keeping our noses clean, just by not engaging in too much battling as Viren Potato, keeping his nose on the inside going into the chicane, trying to scare Savi Ratnayaka into a move. But let's ride back forward with Brian Pereira, as Brian is quite close to Angelo Senaratna. Will he go for a move? He does not go for a move. At the moment, Viren Bateju 3/10 away on that main straight. Things are close up in the midfield. Can Brian find a way to force Angelo Senaratna into an early mistake? We're only 10 minutes into this race, but things are going pretty smoothly for Tehan Iranga and also for Denan Abesekra. Denan is 3 seconds off Tehan, which from the looks of the race pace off Tehan, it was to be expected. But Denan did not present much of what was to come in the practice sessions, and he has basically come out all guns blazing in this race. Is Angelo Senaratna potentially saving fuel? We'll never know, but let's ride back with Savi Ratnayaka, who was very close to the back of Nirosh Yashan going into the hairpin. He was looking for a move on the outside. Will he be able to go for a move into 180R? It's not an orthodox place to go for a move, but in the world of F1, we've seen many cars going for a move into this corner. We've seen Charles Leclerc in 2019 making this his prime overtaking spot. Viren Bateju being a die-hard Ferrari fan, will he look to do what? Oh, as we ride on board, let's go forward with Brian Pereira. Let's take a quick look to Brian Pereira. He's kept it clean through 130R. Let's ride back with Nirosh Yashan, who is under pressure, severely under pressure, from Savi Ratnayaka. Will Savi go for a move? No, he does not. And so we go on to the main straight. Let's go back on board with Angelo Senaratna and Brian Pereira to see where they are. In respect, there we go. Brian Pereira, oh sorry, should we say Shevan Vitharina has kept it close. Let's keep it on board with Shevan Vitharina. Will he be able to go for a move into turn 1? He goes to the outside once again. Can he hang it around the outside? He decides better off it. Will he switch it back? Once again, he cannot make the switchback work. So it's all single file once again. There's plenty of racing action, but oh, we have a move by Shahan Gunawardena, who gets past Gani Deluction, or shall I say, I believe he's defending from Gani Deluction. Praveen Peter has actually made his way up into 13th place, which is a provisional second in the M class, so it's a great debut for Praveen Peter in the world of ACC. But Shevan Vitharina once again, he's close, he's very, very close to Shane Virakun as we cut the timing beams off the second sector. Let's move back up to Shevan Vitharina. They've lost ground once again to the trio battle up ahead of Nirosh, Savi and Viren. Oh! And Shane Virakun running wide. That would potentially not be a warning off-track limits as there was no time gained. But will we see the first overtake made at 130R? Shane Virakun covering the middle of the circuit. Shevan will go to the outside. I don't believe he'll go for the move, but he might go for the switchback here on Shane Virakun. He does the switchback that goes relatively side by side into the chicane. Shevan should ideally go to make his exit out of the chicane as straight line as possible. It's a good exit from Shevan Vitharina. He needs to get into the slipstream of Shane Virakun as soon as possible. Once again, Shevan Vitharina to the outside, but once again, Shane Virakun has kept Shevan behind for yet another lap. This is slowly turning into a similar race to what we saw in the world of F1 here at Suzuka, where there were barely any overtakes considering the way the track is laid out. But Praveen Peter looks to have made an error somewhere on circuit and has now dropped down to 15th place. We just said on the last lap he was running in a provisional second in the M class, and now he's dropped to 4th with Gani Deluction taking his place up in P3. Take a little bit of a breather there as let's go back to Sabi right now. Okay, yes, we can see the gap between Sabi and Niroshishan once again is very close. Niroshishan in the dominant Ferrari at the moment. The Ferrari has improved significantly based on recent DOP allocations. However, the McLaren drivers have been able to take the fight to them, especially the Ford Mustang drivers. Sabi running very wide, potentially over track limits, but the wider entry has harbored a better exit for Sabi. Can he build back that gap on this second straight and basically line himself up for a potential overtake on the main straight? He's got very close, but wisely thinks better of making a move into 130R. Oh, and Sabi's run very, very wide out of 130R in the dirty air of Niroshishan. Can he now line himself up for the exit? Here we go, as we see Shrania Mendes, the leader and the dominant leader of the M class once again. Last race, she lost out to Shahansova, unluckily spinning out very late on in the race. However, this race looks a little bit more straightforward for the only female driver on the grid at the moment. Further up the field, Angelo Senaratna has caught his way. Oh, there's another spin. This time for Padmika Vijaygunawardena, who has dropped down to last place on the grid at the moment, safely rejoining. That's what we like to see. I believe, considering he's 3 laps down, I believe he's made a trip to the pits at some point in this race. But if we go back up to Angelo Senaratna, he's essentially managed to, well, right on board the grid potentially. That's a much closer back than was expected. Viren once again trying to claw his way back towards the likes of Sabi, who's not been able to make that move on Niroshishan. But as you said, Adam, I believe the battle will ideally go towards the pits, as the overcut tends to work at many circuits. However, it is yet to be seen whether Suzuka is an overcut heavy or have an undercut heavy circuit.
Yeah, so compared to GT, how does the strategies differ from GT to ACC, Thiago?
So on GT, in the recent season of Gran Turismo, there were more pit stops than usual due to the excessive tire wear. More than fuel consumption, tire wear was an issue in Gran Turismo 7. That is pretty similar to what drivers are facing today at Suzuka, as usually tire wear is not necessarily an issue for drivers, a detrimental issue. However, based on the input of some drivers this weekend, it was made clear that their tires are tending to die within 5 laps, and more than fuel it leads me to believe that an undercut might be more powerful around here. However, that undercut will come at a price, as the drivers will be running on their new tires with heavier fuel, and they will also be running with worse tires come the end of the race, which could be beneficial and could also just be, it could lead to a beneficial point of view for us as commentators, as we will see a closer battle later on in the race. However, based on what we saw in Misano, many drivers, unlike Gran Turismo, where you could just drive straight into the pits at any speed, which is unrestricted, here in ACC you have a speed limit to match, 50 kilometers per hour. If you don't hit that 50 kilometers per hour, you will be given a 30-second stop-go penalty, which is potentially race-ending at that point, as you will lose so much ground. Another thing to note is, when the pit stop does in fact take place, drivers have to switch off their engines and also park in their respective pit boxes. So incorrectly doing both procedures will result in a longer duration pit stop, which is yet another aspect of these ACC pit stop models. which would lead to some drivers having a better pit stop than others, as the pit window has opened, but Savi Ratnayaka is much closer to Niro Shashan than he has been on previous laps. He's under 2/10 behind Niro Shashan here. Things are very close between Savi and Nirosh. Can he make a move into turn 1? Will he go for a dive? He puts his nose in there, but there's no chance of a move. It's a long main straight here in Suzuka, but not long enough for Savi Ratnayaka to make the move into turn 1.
As we can see, Viren also catching them up due to them battling a lot. So 6th position is in jeopardy. So Niro will have to be defended a lot, but he will also be losing time towards Andrew. So we'll have to see.
Yep, and another thing to point out for the drivers that have primarily come from Gran Turismo racing, penalties in Gran Turismo for chronoculling do usually see speed reduction penalty somewhere along the straight of the circuit. However, in ACC, after 3 track limit warnings, you are given a drive-through penalty, which once again can be significantly detrimental to your race considering how close the field is today. We know Tehanaranga has pulled clear 5.5 seconds ahead of P2. However, the rest of the drivers battling at the moment are all in severely close proximity of one another. Let's ride back with Savi Ratnayaka, who is very close. We'll actually see Andrew Senaratna, who might be going for a move on Denanabe Sekura. He does not. Let's ride back with Savi Ratnayaka.
As we can see that due to Denon and Angelo fighting with each other, we can see that Brian has also caught up with Angelo. So P2 is also can be changed in the course of a few laps, but Denon so far is pulling away from Angelo now. The gap is 0.8 seconds. As we can see, the Savi Ratnayaka battling Nirosh, and Viren is also there in the background, but Savi is trying his best. And there's contact with Viren and Savi.
Minor contact, but both have got away with it. But no doubt that will result in minor damage for Viren Bateju. Will he choose to clear that damage at the pit stop? I don't believe it was significant damage, so he should be safe. However, things are definitely heating up in their respective battles. Denon, Angelo, and Brian in a trio battle there. We have these three, Nirosh, Savi, and Viren, all in their own little battle as well. But one crucial point to note is pit window has officially opened, so drivers can now come into the pits for the next 16 minutes. If they do not do so, they will be disqualified from the race for not completing their mandatory pit stops. And so once again, the pendulum has swung towards Brian Pereira in his Ford Mustang. His Mustang does have incredible straight line speed, but and we see Savi Ratnayaka shipping up for a move on the inside, but once again, no overtakes for Savi Ratnayaka or Brian Pereira. It's turning into a little bit of a minimal overtaking race at the moment. Let's go up towards Andrew Sean for a second to just see if he can clear the lap car with no issues. Can Andrew Sean make his way through? Oh, the lap car has slowed down. Let's see behind if the others can get through. No, they're held up. They are held up. But they have made their way through, but Savi Ratnaka is significantly closer to Niro Shashan than before. Even Viren Pateju is very close. This is what we have been accustomed to see. Drivers getting somewhat held up by lap cars, bringing battles closer. Will Savi go for a move once again? He cannot shape a move down the inside. Can he get a better run out of the hairpin than Niro Shashan? Still very close. At this point in time, I believe it might just be best for Savi Ratnaka to go for a move into an unnatural spot like 180R, or even threaten a move and potentially send Niro Shashan on a mistake off track, as at the moment it doesn't look like there's many other places for these drivers to go for moves.
So, what do you think the optimal time is to pit for a good strategy so that they can have better tires maybe for the end of the race, or fuel early so they can go more for a fuel saving strategy?
Well, as you say that, drivers are now coming into the pits. Let's stay on board with Savi Ratnaka. We see Denan Abisekra also in the pits, but let's show the viewers what a typical pit stop in the world of ACC looks like. Unlike Gran Turismo, you do not see your pit crew running out to service your car. However, let's just see Savi Ratnaka drive slowly into his invisible pit box, which is behind Denan Abisekra. You can see him. He's now stopped his engine. He will no doubt do a tire change. It's a little bit early, but this should provide Savi with a chance of the undercut. We see Denan Abisekra, who's also completed his pit stop. This should ideally allow Denan to stay ahead of the likes of Angelo and Brian. But once again, knowing Angelo Senaratne is known as the king of strategies in the world of ACC. Let's see what Angelo can muster up. But what I'm more excited to see is where Savi Ratnaka comes out in relation to Niro Shashan in the coming laps, as Savi is triggering the undercut to try and get past Niro Shashan in P6. And I'm surprised Viren Pateju has not done the same. Based on what we saw in Misano, Viren Pateju did go long in Misano as well in round 1. It worked out for him, but let's see how things go for Viren. He's caught up to Niroshia now. A late spur of pace here for Viren Pateju. Was he potentially being held up by Savi Ratnaka in this battle? As it looks like Viren has plenty of pace. Will he go for a move down the inside? He shapes for one. He forces Niroshishan slightly on the defensive. Will Nirosh go dive into the pits now? He does not. Viren Pateju doesn't either. Brian Pereira is in the pits. Let's ride on board with Brian Pereira. Actually, let's ride on board with Denan Abisekra, as he is the man who was in a battle with Brian Pereira on the previous laps. Let's just see where Denan can come out in relation to him. And if Brian Pereira has in fact jumped Denan Abisekra, this could be crucial for Angelo Senaratne to also note that he could potentially overcut both Denan and Brian. Is this yet another strategy masterclass from Angelo Senaratne? Let's go to the broadcast camera of Denan Abisekra to also see where Brian Pereira is in relation to him. Denan makes his way down the main straight. Brian Pereira is still in the pits. Has Brian overcut? Brian Pereira has a 30-second stop-go penalty. We can see that Denan has significantly gained on Brian Pereira. But Brian Pereira has now got a 30-second stop-go penalty, potentially for speeding in the pit lane. This is what I told you would happen on him. This is the bad side of ACC, as speeding in the pit lane does incur a massive penalty. But now, crucially, let's go back to the battle between Viren Pateju and Nirosh Yeshan, as the battle is very close, but I am inclined to see whether either of these drivers will dive into the pits. Viren Pateju is so close to the back of Yesha, no way he's gonna go for a move around the outside off 130R. They're very close. Viren Mateju wisely backs out of things. He knows that both drivers are required to go into the pits very soon.
Contact.
Oh, they're very close. There is
Viren
contact.
Viren's
Viren
off.
Mateju has managed to keep himself away from the barriers. He scraped the barriers, but that would potentially be a potential penalty coming the way of Niraj Shishan based on what the stewards have to say about that. It was slightly moving under braking and sideways contact with Viren Bateju. Nowhere else for Viren Bateju to really go. As let's go further up to Niraj Shishan, who is trying to make his way through lap cars as he has made his way through the lap cars, and I believe Viren Bateju has also. Let's see a replay here off that contact. Oh, that wasn't very good from Niraj Shishan. We see him slightly moving, under braking. Was it too much moving? That's for the stewards to decide. But so I believe Viren Bateju crucially has been held up by that lap car. Now Tehan Aranga has come out off the pits. He is in P5, but it must be said he is quite significantly ahead of Deninabe Sekura, who is his closest rival in the pro class. Let's go on board with Shane Wirakun real quick, as Shane Wirakun is coming into the pits. He is in the pits at the moment. Viren Bateju and Niraj Shishan staying out, but crucially, I believe Sami Ratnayaka should fly ahead of Shane Wirakun. But now the crucial thing to see is where Sami Ratnayaka is in relation to Andrew Sean. As Sami Ratnayaka and Andrew Sean were not close, but they were about 2 to 3 seconds apart before the pit stops. What is the gap between them now? It's down to 1.3 as Sami goes off track. The gap is now 1.3 seconds between Sami Ratnayaka and Andrew Sean. So things are definitely heating up, and they are very close between the two. Angelo Sinaratne comes into the pits. Let's ride on board with Denon Abe Sekura. Denon Abe Sekura in P8. He's 6.5 seconds off Tehan Eranga. Denon has had the undercut, so he should be able to stay well ahead of Angelo Sinaratne. But knowing the witty tactics that Angelo Sinaratne has been able to promote over the recent races, will he be able to overcut Denon Abe Sekura? After this, it'll be crucial to see where Shivan Vitarana is in relation to Shane Wirakun. But let's ride on board with Angelo Sinaratne. He's coming out of the pits. Where is Denon Abe Sekura? There he is. Denon just about gets ahead of Angelo, but that was very close. Angelo was able to keep it there, Adam, but let's ride back with Shivan Vitarana. Where is Shivan Vitarana in relation to Shane Wirakun? Let's ride back with Shane. Shivan Vitarana has incurred a penalty. And that is crucial. Shivan Vitarana coming out of the pits well clear of Shane Wirakun, who might have made a mistake with his pit stop. But crucially for Shivan, he's got a 30-second stop go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is crucial. But back at the front, we have Niraj Shishan leading the way. It's a Ferrari 1-2. Been a while since Ferrari fans have been able to see this. But Niraj Shishan and Viren Bateju are making it work. Viren Bateju going down the inside at the chicane. Can he keep it on the exit? Oh, there's contact. There is contact. I must say, there's nothing Niraj Shishan can really do about that. Viren Bateju went for the move, but he could not make it work. On the exit, Viren Bateju now going into the pits. It's a real shame, as if Viren Bateju just kept it behind Niraj Shishan for a couple more corners, he could have potentially gone for the move in the pits, but now he's going to be under risk from Sami Ratnayaka. Let's stay on board with Sami, who no doubt should be able to pass Varane with the pit stops now, as he is very close to Andrew Sean.
So it's now the more than less than 25 minutes more for the race to end. Tiago, who do you think is going to be winning this, and who do you think the podium will be?
At the moment, it looks like the Haniranga is the clear favourite, but the podium also might be a straight fight between Denon and Angelo for P2 and P3. Here comes Sami Ratnayaka, and he is well clear of Viren Bateju. Crucially for Denon Abiseka, he's managed to clear Angelo by roughly 2.5 seconds. The only downside for Denon Abiseka now is he'll be having to watch his fuel near the end of the race, and he will also need to ensure that his tires can make it all the way, because he made his pit stop with around 34 minutes left in this race. He's already done over 10 minutes of running on those tires, while Angelo's probably done 2 laps on those tires. As Nirosh Yashan goes around for yet another lap, he has 3.5 minutes left in regards to the pit window, so I believe he will have to come into the pits this lap. There is no way he can go any longer with the duration left on the pit window. 23 minutes left in this race. It is quite clearly a miracle that Nirosh Yashan is able to keep the pace he is at the moment with how worn out his tires are. But Adam, as we can see, one crucial thing to note is Viren Bateju, he did have the spin, which probably cost him roughly 6 seconds of running, but he is now 13 seconds away from the likes of Sami Ratnayaka. That just goes to show how powerful the undercut is, and it potentially makes me believe that my prediction of the correct pit stop was correct, as with the excessive tire wear, the undercut seems to have been the optimal strategy so far today. So I'm very intrigued to see what Nirosh Yashan will be able to do, as he will no doubt be coming into the pits this lap, but where will he be coming out, as Viren Bateju will now be on a rampage. He will be trying to claw his way back up to Nirosh Yashan. Although Viren did spin Arvin and Kelman, I believe he will be very, very close to Viren Bateju come the end of his pit stop, as the undercut is just that powerful. You know what? Let's take a moment to go back through the M drivers. Let's go to Shan Amrasinghe, who is in the pits. Let's go to Shahan Gunawardena. He is currently in P12 at the moment after the pit stops, and is now running second place in the AM class, followed by Ganaj Lakshan. And one very crucial thing to note is Sharanya Mendes leading the way is, as we see a car on the tail of Shahan Gunawardena, that might be Ganaj Lakshan behind him. But now let's ride. Yep, that is Ganaj Lakshan in close pursuit of Shahan Gunawardena. But for a moment, let's go on board with Nirosh Yashan, as Nirosh Yashan is in the pits. Let's just see where Nirosh Yashan can file out. He is in the pits, as you can see. Let's hope Nirosh has not incurred a stop-go penalty, as we've seen from Shavan Ritharana and Brian Pereira. Both drivers, talented, experienced drivers in the world of ACC racing, but it just goes to show how easy it is to simply get a speeding in the pit lane warning. Let's see it. Has Sami Ratnayaka got past Nirosh Yashan? He has in fact done so. Where is Viren Bateju in regards to Nirosh Yashan? There is Viren on the main straight, but he's not quite close enough. There's also a lap car in between them, so that that contact that Viren had with Nirosh
Window
has
is now
cost him
closed.
significantly, and Nirosh Hashan has timed his pit stop to perfection. As you can hear, the pit window has now officially closed. Oh, so let's go back with Gunnar Luction, as the battle for P2, the podium battle essentially, in the AM class, is surely heating up. There's a 1/10 gap between Ganadu and Shahan Gunawardena. As we head on to the main straight, it's the McLaren versus the Ferrari. But this time round, it is a red McLaren and a blue Ferrari. Let's see what these drivers can produce. From recent laps, we have seen that Ganadu's first corner is significantly better than Shahan's, so there's a chance that there's time to be gained by Ganadu on entry to the S section. As we can see, this time round, Shahan Gunawardena has been able to keep things clean on the exit of turn 1. Let's just make our way down the order of the AM class so far. I feel like we haven't really seen much of what there is to see in the AM class. So, for me and Peter, first race in the world of ACC, it's always quite tough to transition from Gran Turismo to ACC, as Dre Botejo and myself have very much been experienced to. But yeah, we have Sean Amarasinghe, who's engrossed in the battle right now with Ronit Pereira. Both drivers, once again, experienced drivers. They've raced in the previous race at home seasons. But Sean Amarasinghe, he is a very, very aggressive but fun driver to watch when it comes to race day. What will he be able to achieve here? Let's see. Following in close pursuit of Ronit Pereira, with the absence of Kemal Samarjiva this weekend and a few other AM drivers, it is very likely that Sean will jump up into third or second in the AM class.
So 17 minutes more to go. So far, it looks like Tehan will be running away with the win, and Angelo is trying to gain on Denon because he will have the advantage on tires, because Denon, I believe, pitted around 10 minutes before him, so he will have the advantage
Yep, you're right.
on tires. So as we can see, Denon overtaking a back marker.
Very clean, I must say. Adam, you and Kelman have not quite been introduced to the world of lapped cars. This week it has actually been fairly clean. It's been a very clean showing from the lapped cars, as Misano did see quite a few incidents with lap cars actually colliding with the front runners. This time round, it's quite interesting to see. It's very, very clean, very polite racing between the back markers and the front runners. And so now the field has somewhat spread out, but I believe, Adam, the racing is going to get far more interesting in the final 5 to 10 minutes of this race, as the tires of Denon Abeseco slowly fall away. We can see Denon's Rocket Raccoon inspired livery. There's been much commotion over this legendary livery of Denon's Rocket Raccoon, powering him all the way to P2 at the moment, and he is also pulling away from Angelo Scarat. So the Raccoon is doing wonders for the Malaysian driver. What more can he produce? This result should take him into second position in the standings, as Angelo Scarat had a poor first round, finishing in 7th place. Brian Pereira, who had a good first round, is having quite a tough time out there after his stop-go penalty, currently in 11th.
As we can see Arshad Iftikhar gaining on Charit Amar Singha. Let's see what he can do into 180 they go. And now to the back straight. Can he make a move into 130R is the question. They're both in Ferraris, he's gaining.
Here we go.
He's trying
Knowing
for it.
Sean, he will go for the move.
And there's
It's Sean
contact.
Ammersinger. Oh, what a move!
There is contact though, and that has led.
We cannot quite see what's happening at the moment. We've gone into a replay camera. Oh, here we go. Oh, there seems to have been more contact with Arshad Iftikhar, but let's just keep it on board with Sean Ammersinger, who will likely go for a move now on Rona Pereira. But let's try and see if we can get a replay of that incident in the chicane, as we were unable to see what happened there. Let's go back a little bit more. So let's try and go back another 30 seconds with Arshad Iftikhar. Seems we're unable to quite see what happened, but the Spark Racing driver unable to make the move on Sean Ammersingha, and has now dropped down to 19th place on the grid. Rocket Raccoon, oh, oversteer on the exit off 130R. Based on my personal experience with that corner on this game, it's a very annoying corner, as keeping it too fine on the inside curb will spin you out, and taking it too wide on the exit curb will also spin you out. So you do have to get it just right. But are those the first signs of Denan Abeseker's tires just wearing off? He has done a 2-minute 0.4 last lap. Let's just go back to Angelo to see what his lap time is that lap. Angelo's last lap was a 2-minute flat.
Correct you on Denham's car, it's not a raccoon, it's a rodent on the car.
Oh, well, that's good to know. Well, that makes the livery just a little bit less inspired in my point of view. I'm thoroughly upset that that was not, in fact, Rocket Raccoon on the livery. Let's just go back to Denan Abeseker. As there's not much racing action on track at the moment, let's take a moment to inspire. Let's inspect this wonderful livery of Denan Abeseker. So, Adam Janaid, one quick question: do we have Sam Smith in the studio as of yet?
No, we don't, but he is in the live chat on YouTube.
Okay.
He is communicating with us, but he isn't in the studio. I think he may be getting late.
Oh, okay. So, yes, viewers, we have Sam Smith in the live chat.
Angelo has gained 8 tenths on Denan from last lap, so he must be attacking on full attack mode since we're coming to the last 10 minutes of the race. Let's see what Angelo can do.
Evidently the rodent is carrying a significant weight on Denan's back right now. The tires are probably wearing off quite rapidly now. We see Brian Pereira trying to make his way back through the grid. Sharanya Mendes should not really put up much of a fight with Brian Pereira, as it is a fight of two different classes at the moment, as she very calmly gets out of the way of Brian Pereira. However, let's see the gap between Sharanya and Shehan Gunawar. It is 18 seconds. That is a massive gap between the top two of the M class. So as long as Sharanya keeps things cool and calm, she should be securing herself a win in the M class, which she lost in the final couple laps of the last race. Once again, Angelo Cenerantne, here we go. And there we go, the storyline has been set. And I will be very, very upset if Angelo Cineratna does not in fact catch Denon, as Angelo is very close. He is very close to the back of catching Denon Abesecra. The gap now 2.7 seconds between Angelo and Denon. And as the tires wear off, remember Angelo's tires are 10 minutes younger than Denon's, so roughly 4 to 5 laps younger than Denon's tires, which make all the difference in ACC.
As Angelo has gained another 3 tenths on Denon. It looks that it's gonna be close as there is a yellow flag out on track. We look to see
Let's try and find this yellow flag. It is car number 28.
as Ronet
No, it's car
Pereira
number
has
20.
gone
It's
off.
Ronet Pereira. Oh, and that he was in close pursuit of Shana Mersinger as well, so that's unfortunate for Ronet.
As we
Let's
see a
see just
replay.
what happened.
Oh, there is contact with
Oh!
both cars.
Who is that? Who is that car that was racing against him? That was Shana Mersinger. Oh, that is... That's for the stewards to decide once again, but it looked like potentially either a racing incident or Ronet just turning in when Shan was already alongside it. Let me just move back through on my perspective. It looks as if Ronet Pereira has made a mistake. He's run a little bit wide, and yeah, it looks very much like that might actually be a penalty going the way of Ronet Pereira, as
Denon
Shana
looks
Mersinger
to be
was
struggling
already
a lot
well
because
alongside.
Angelo has gained up on him a lot. He is gaining.
Another 5 tenths this lap.
Yeah,
another 5 tenths this lap.
I think the tire wear may be affecting him a lot.
Yeah, what did I say, Adam? This is going to get interesting in the last 5 to 10 minutes, and Angelo Cineratna is fulfilling hopes of a battle come the end of the race. This might be the only way we see a proper move on track today, as there have potentially been moves on track, irrespective, but even if we haven't caught them, but in terms of the pro class, we have barely seen any overtakes today. I don't believe we've seen a single overtake, actually. Can you, Adam? I believe...
The only overtake we saw so far was Sean Amarasiri into 130R. That was the only overtake
Yeah,
we
and
saw.
even that was a failed overtake. That was actually Arshad Iftikhar trying to go down the inside of Sean, and even that was a failed attempt as he couldn't get past and actually lost the place. We saw Varian try and move into the chicane, and even that resulted in him spinning with contact. The overtake we just saw by Sean on Ronet Pereira also resulted in contact, so apart from cars getting left, it's been a pretty quiet affair for the overtake marker, but here we go. What has Angelo been able to do this lap? It looks like Denon's actually managed to pick up the pace just a little bit on this lap. It was 2 seconds at the last timing beam. It might be around the same gap.
The gap is
1.9,
under
he's
2
gained
seconds.
1/10.
Angelo is on attack mode. He has gained from the last lap. Let's see what he can do because he is pushing. His eyes is on the target.
Now, the one very crucial point to point out is the 6 minutes just over is yellow flags for car number 12, I believe. For car number 15, I believe it was. There are still, yeah, it was car number 15 that had an incident. It was Ganit Lakshan. Let's maybe see if we can get a replay of what happened. I believe he just went wide at, yep, wide. Oh, big snap of Lucia, but what a catch by Ganidu. Brilliantly held. He's managed to keep it back on track, and I believe he's safely rejoined the track as well. Yep. What a catch, what a save by Ganidu. Well done, but yeah, one thing I was going to point out, Adam, is there's just over 6 minutes left in this race. It's about a 2-minute lap. It's 2 minutes per lap. If this might create an opportunity for some drivers to make their strategy work based on their fuel consumption as well, as some drivers might currently be under-fueled in comparison to other drivers. So these final laps might see significant lifting and coasting by some drivers who are potentially under fuel from their pit stop. Let's ride on board with Denon as he's trying to clear this traffic. Let's hope he does not get held up too much as the traffic does go to the inside and lets him through very cleanly. That is very clean stuff from Denon Abesekura.
So Thiago, I think maybe Denon might be having to save a bit of fuel because Angelo is gaining a lot, and Denon did pit around 10 minutes earlier than Angelo to get the undercut. So he will be trying to save the tires and the fuel as we see a car
Oh,
going
he's
by.
run wide. He's run. That is Denon.
No,
That's
that's not
Denon.
Denon.
That is oh my goodness.
That's
It's
again,
very
that's
similar.
Danindu Lakmal again, Lakshan
Oh,
again.
okay. Oh, it's not even the same car. It is a McLaren.
Yeah.
Not even a Ferrari, but very similar colors. Yeah, we could see him just running wide to let the other drivers through. Very smart stuff by kind of deduction. So yeah, as you were saying, Adam, that is 100% right. Denon might have even underfueled just slightly to get a better pit stop time, but I believe Denon, knowing Denon, he must have surely kept enough time in the bag, as Niro Shishan is going to drive through penalty, and that would be due to exceeding track limits on more than 3 occasions. But let's run on board with Savi. Here we go. Are we going to see a move by Savi Ratnakar? He's been close before, but never gone for the move here. Once again, oh! Hiroshi goes wide, and Savi makes the first on-track overtake we've seen all race. It only took 57 minutes, but Savi Ratnakar's made a move. Finally, Adam, let's see a replay of that, as this is a monumentous moment in this Suzuka race. Savi Ratnakar actually making a move on track. Wow, we've been waiting so long for that, and finally we've got a move on track. We see Savi move to the inside, potentially catching Andrew Sean unawares and forcing Andrew Sean to miss his braking point. And through goes Savi. What a move by Savi Ratnakar,
And
finally, which has actually got him into the top 4.
And we can see that Angelo has caught up 0.6 seconds. The gap is now 0.7. And he is right
close.
behind Denon. Can he go and make a move?
Yeah, he is pushing hard.
I believe we'll have...
His tires are pretty worn out, and he does not seem to be catching so much grip. And Angelo's right on his tail right now, as you can see.
And it looks to me like Denon is forcing a bit to save a bit of fuel. And Angelo is right on his buffer.
Will Angelo get his over?
2 laps left. Oh, big moment of oversteer.
Will Angelo make a move into the hairpin? Is he close enough?
He might.
He is close.
He's gonna be alongside. There's 2 laps left, and Angelo knows it. He knows he can't leave it for the last lap.
Around the outside
Denon
goes,
already defending.
setting up for the switchback. But no, Denon perfectly defends it with that rodent of a vehicle.
Oh, but he's run a little bit wide. Can Angelo go for a move into 180R? I don't think he can do so. Denon parking his car in the perfect points on off the circuit.
But now Angelo will have the power advantage because I think Denon might be coasting or lifting a bit to save his fuel as Angelo looks to make a move but doesn't.
Adam, I think his fuel might be okay based on how things are going. Denon's been able to keep his braking points similar to Angelo, so I feel like with 1 lap to go, the fuel isn't an issue anymore.
Final lap. Give it a final push.
Yep, as we get the notice that Tehan Aranga is now on his final lap. But this is where the battles are. Angelo Senaratna 3/10 off. Andrew Sean has lost it to Savi. Savi has brought those tires in and is able to maintain a gap in 4th. But Angelo Senaratna, has he potentially ruined his tires too much being in the dirty air off Denon? And there are back markers on this final lap. This could make things very, very interesting with 1 lap to go. Here we go. Here we go. There's a move. There's a move potentially by Nero Shishan on I Am Puzzle. But we will ride our way back to Anderson and Ratner. They are catching lapped cars. They are catching back markers. As the back marker does go wide, will this cause any issues for the cars in front? We have to be wary that Dehan Aranga is close to finishing the race as well. Let's just keep an eye on where he is on track. He is still not at the end of the circuit. He's entering 180R at the moment. Oh, as the back markers are getting in the way of Denan Abesekara. Will this be an issue? No. Now the back marker does get out of the way, but Denan loses a whole bunch of time. Dehan Aranga is still at 180R, so we have no issues with the leader entering the final corners just yet. Can Denan get his... Oh! Angelo runs wide. Denan also potentially running wide, but I feel like Angelo's lost too much time now with that mistake. Let's ride on board with Dehan Aranga. As Angelo has lost time to Denan. Dehan Aranga rounding the final corners. It's been a dominant race for Dehan Aranga as he rounds the final corner to win in Suzuka. But where is Angelo Senaratna? Where is Denan Abesekara? Denan has made it. Unless he runs out of fuel in these final couple corners, it looks like the Malaysian rodent has made it through. Denan Abesekara on the final straight. The line does not come up till now. Oh, and he's weaving his way across the line. Denan Abesekara is going to be under investigation for weaving across the start-finish line, but no, he won't be. It's a good race by Denan Abesekara and by Brian Ferreira as that rounds off the podium. Sami Ratnayaka coming home in P4 ahead of Andrew Sean. Closely fought battle between those two the entire race, and Viren Bateju, after a spin trying to overtake Niro Shishan, climbs his way back up to P6 as here we go. Is there a potential move by oh no, that's Shane Raccoon making a move on a lapped car for P7. A great race by Shane Raccoon, kept his nose out of trouble and finishes ahead of Shevan Vitarna, who he was in close battle with the entire race. I Am Fazal will just about be able to hold on to P8 ahead of Niro Shishan. Good points for Iham. And then we see Brian Pereira in 10th, who will round off the top 10 for the Pro Class. Not the result the championship protagonist will want, but there are drop rounds in this ACC championship. So this will most likely be Brian Pereira's drop round. Sharanya Mendes will now come around the final corner to win the amateur class Suzuka race. She is first across the line in the amateur class. The only driver from the amateur class to still be on the lead lap. So a great job by Sharanya Mendes, once again the only female on the grid taking part today, and she is the only M class driver to still be on the same lap as Dehan Aranga and the other Pro Class leaders. And there we have it. Dehan Aranga leads the championship, and he leads the final results here in Suzuka, followed by Denan Abesekara, who was closely followed by Angelo Senaratna. Savi Ratnayaka finishing off in P4, Andrew Sean in P5. Viren Bateju will round off the top 6, followed by Shane Rokun, Iham Fazal, and Niro Shishan, with Brian Pereira rounding off the top 10 for the Pro Class, with Sharanya Mendes winning the M Class race, Shahan Gunawardena on debut in P2, with S. Silva in P3. Adam, Kelman, what did you guys think of that race? That was your first ACC race.
Yeah, so that was a very wonderful race to see. A lot of competition, a lot of back-to-back fighting with one another. And yeah, it was very exciting to see, and it was very fun to see Drain and Angelo Senaratna fighting each other.
And before the stream ends, I hope to potentially get Denan Abesekara in for an interview here, as we've interviewed Dehan Aranga before, but I would like to potentially just get Denan Abesekara into this call for an interview. As let's try and
get him.
Hello there, Denan Abesekara.
Hello.
Hello there. You are now being interviewed for the live stream. How
Hi.
have you managed to get that rodent of a car into P2?
So, I mean, I knew staying in behind someone through Suzuka would absolutely eat through the tires and I won't be able to keep up with the Lambo. And I knew I had to make the move into turn 1 on Angelo. And I did. And it succeeded. And I knew Tehan with the Mustang would pull away. I tried to keep up, but the tires just kept dying on me, and I couldn't. So I knew P2
Yeah.
was on the table for me.
Yeah, Adam, do you have any questions for Devin? Because Adam was intrigued by how you managed to actually keep it in P2. Adam, well, do you have anything to say to Devin after that race? I don't believe we have Adam with us anymore. But Devin,
I'm here. I am here.
Adam is here.
I am here.
Oh,
oh, there we go. There's Adam.
Hello there, Denon.
Adam,
yeah, hello.
okay, Adam, do you have a question for Denon?
So how did you manage to pit so early and keep the fuel okay and the tires okay to keep Angelo behind you?
So if you saw, Angelo started catching me like quite fast. I had like 4 seconds on him, and then he started catching me because one, my tires started to die, and I was also managing my fuel, and I was lifting and coasting a lot. And yeah, I actually at the end of the race I had like 1 liter remaining, so I was like right on the brink of it. The only advantage I had was the undercut and having fresher tires at the beginning of that second stage.
Yeah.
Then another question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on the livery of your car, is that a raccoon? Is that a squirrel? Or
That's a raccoon. That's a raccoon. You know, I'm all about raccoons. I love raccoons. You know, I think they are like absolutely cool, and I try to bring that cool vibe when I race. And hopefully, now finishing second twice, right behind Tehan both times. I think I'm doing the raccoons justice. Hopefully.
all right, Dylan. Thank
yeah,
you.
Denon, because there was a big misconception during the race where I was calling your car Rocket Raccoon for half the race.
Yeah, it is Rocket the raccoon. So yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. See, so I wasn't mistaken. Yeah, I was calling it Rocket Raccoon. Sam Smith incorrectly corrected me saying it was actually a rodent. So you became the Malaysian rodent. For a good 10
Well,
minutes.
I'll have
anyway.
a few words for Sam later. But yeah.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can have your strong words with Sam. But anyway,
Yeah,
well
yeah.
done, Denon. Well done on T2.
Alright, thank you
and
very
can
much,
go
guys.
celebrate. And
Thank you.
anyway, yep. And so to round off round 2, any closing thoughts by you guys, Adam and Kelman, before we round off the stream?
Nothing much. Just to say, it was a wonderful race to watch, and then great competition. And hope we can bring the same on for round 3 as well.
Yeah, I hope we can keep the same cleanliness and action for the following races with maybe just a little bit more overtaking. But yeah, so that's been your second round of the CMSC Race at Home Championship on the Corsa Competizione, and we will see you next time for round 3 in about a month's time. So see you then.
See you.